What is going on, Arizona sports fans? How are we doing out here today on this Monday? We're here to talk the aftermath of what happened over the weekend in Week 6 versus the Los Angeles Rams. And of course, I am joined by my good friend here, Mythic Man. How are you doing? Hopefully it's a better day since yesterday, but how are you doing?
No, I definitely cooled off. Definitely cooled off. Got
Good.
some time to just sit back and just like kind of just relax for a minute, The game isn't as hot in my head yesterday. Very different feelings. I'm assuming it's kind of the same thing for you.
Yeah, I think that's why it's good to do these type of streams after the game, right? Because you're feeling very hot, right? You're feeling very agitated and all these different
Yeah.
things that kind of going through your body. But now that we're kind of here, I think I can kind of now talk about this in a level-headed mind space where, hey, let's get started here, right? Now, first, big shout out here. We got the Arizona Diamondbacks playing in the NLCS starting up today against the Phillies, so I'm super excited about that. Another announcement here real quick. The Wednesday show will be canceled due to obviously the Arizona Diamondbacks, so I want to make sure everybody's fully aware of that, but we will be coming back live on Friday morning at 10 a.m., just FYI. But let's get started here, Mythic Man. Let's dive into the Arizona Cardinals loss against the Los Angeles Rams, losing 9 to what was it, 24? Is that what it
I
was?
think 26.
26. Yeah, 26-9. Man, how are you feeling now since you had a full sleep?
Still disappointed because you sit at a record of 1-5, but it's just like this is kind of where the season was headed. We kind of understood that, but it's just being in these close games and having the expectations. It still hurts at the end of the day. So I'm still hurting a little bit down deep inside. Yesterday was good. Nice little therapy session we got going on. But it's just the same thoughts. You still got everything pretty level. Josh Dobbs really underperformed yesterday. Wish Kyler was playing. The defense can't be on the field 24/7. Our secondary is really bad. Just a lot of question marks, and the trade deadline's coming up. So it's just like, I don't know. I kind of want moves to be made. Yeah. Genuinely.
So even after a full day's rest, still want. Well, I mean, here's the thing too. It's not like we automatically were like, oh, things need to be changed after last week. No, we were talking about this for a couple of weeks now, where the realism of where the Arizona Cardinals at, right? Like now that we're 1-5 and we're going to be playing another division rival next week with the Seattle Seahawks. It's the realism of where we kind of are at as an organization. So you do want moves to be made, right?
Yeah, I think it should be not a fire sale necessarily, but like DJ Humphries. Need him gone.
Really?
That's a name that we've been kind of saying, and he is a left tackle. It's a premier position, so second round pick. I'm still holding him to that standard. The lowest is a third because he's not playing well at all. But if a team is willing to give up a second or a third, I'm shipping DJ Humphries off in a heartbeat. And then James Conner is someone else I want to be on the block. I don't want him gone, but just someone on the block because he's not going to get any younger. He's a running back. They tend to die out very early in their careers. It's just how it is in the NFL nowadays. The running back isn't even super coveted. And I do know James Conner is our entire offense, but are we going to be good in the next 2 to 3 years? Or James Conner is going to provide the kind of, I don't even know what to say, like the kind of production we need out of him? Probably not. I mean, he might have the production, but we'll be a bad team.
Right.
So I would just call, see what you can get. Obviously, there's not a lot of teams out there that I think would really trade for him. We kind of discussed that. But if we take out his full salary, I'm sure we can get a decent little pick. And then the last name that I think I need to see shipped around is just Zach Ertz.
Yeah. Ertz has been a name that we've been talking about here for quite some time on this channel about, just not fitting in what the trend has been right now. Obviously, we really can't get into the mind of what Monty Austin4 is going to do, but thinking about what has been the trend and what we've been seeing, right? If you want to go young and really try to evaluate, Zach Ertz is kind of like that needle in the haystack, right? Like that sore thumb, that big thumb out that's like, it's obvious, right? It's a glaring situation that I think we are ready to start to see if Trey McBride is going to be the guy that's going to be able to step up. And so far we've seen flashes, but you're not able to get him the full work that we need to see as Cardinal fans, because as of right now, they are still splitting shares for the whole tight end situation, to tight end role, where it actually declined, believe it or not. Looking at the snap count here for the Arizona Cardinals, tight end position, Zach Ertz had 35 plays, so he was on the field 46% of the time, and then Trey McBride was actually 44 plays to 58% of the time, and then Jeff Swain 15 plays 20% of the time. So it might be happening.
It really might be. I mean, Trey McBride had his best game too yesterday. maybe in the NFL, he had 60-something yards on like 3 receptions, and he had that one super padded stat or padded catch towards the end of the game. But I mean, he still came down with it. You know, it was a contested catch. It might be time. And I do, if Zach Ertz does stay, which I wouldn't be mad at because I like Zach Ertz a lot. I really do. It's just, it doesn't fit the timeline, you know? And I see that he's kind of like getting back into his own. So maybe a contender comes out here and trades like a 6th round, 5th round draft pick.
Yeah.
But it just doesn't fit the timeline. And I don't want him to sit here and just waste his years like that.
Right.
Especially when we have a young tight end on the bench. And it's just like,
if he takes a bench role for a different team, for sure.
Yeah. I don't even know what team could even use him, but there's just so many teams out there that could use a player like him.
Yeah.
And even if not as a starter, they could use him as a bench tight end. Like, it doesn't really matter. Like, imagine him. I don't know. Eesh. There's definitely teams out there.
Oh, I agree.
I don't know what team would pick up the phone and make that call, because there's not a lot of tight end necessity teams. I would say maybe the Lions or something with TJ Hawkinson gone.
Yeah, they do got that rookie guy that's really, I think
Sam Laporta.
Yeah, he's actually doing pretty good for them.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at James Conner's contract. We do have him until 2023. Has a cap hit of $9.4 million for us, and then next year he's got no guaranteed salary. So it might be one of those situations where we might be able to trade him off, and like you said, right, kind of pay a good portion of his contract for this year and kind of bite the bullet. Or next year we might be able to get him off the books completely, because I don't see a guaranteed salary. Although a cap hit of 8.4 for next year, it can very well be a situation where we could move off of James Conner. And then Zach Ertz, which is 33 years old, there's a voided year on 2025. And then in 2024, we have him signed up, but also kind of same thing, where no guaranteed salary in 2024, but has a cap hit right now in this year of 11.6. So, I mean, I think for Zach Ertz, I think we're all kind of under the understanding that we might get next to not very much for Zach Ertz.
Yeah,
that's completely fine. I think we're just kind of trying to do our due diligence and move him off the field. And the biggest reason why is because we want to see Trey McBride.
Yeah, exactly. Just young tight end on the bench who we took very high and showed flashes here and there. And I feel like he can be a solid piece for us long term, but you will never know if you don't play him.
Yeah, 100% agree. All right, let's dive into the game yesterday here real quick. Now, I think a lot of people were out here basically saying like, "Oh, you're bagging on Dobbs all this time, right? Like it's Dobbs. But let's kind of call it like it is. Like, obviously with the quarterback position, you are given flowers when you do very good. And then you're getting the criticism, right, when you're doing very bad. But this wasn't all on Dobbs. Like, let's be honest here. Our defense, all those showed up, pretty decently in the first half. They kind of unraveled in the second half. But let's talk about the big elephant in the room, right? Marco Wilson and Keitrell Clark, where one of them was on Cooper Kupp, and they weren't doing a too great of a job. So let's dive into that. Who else is to blame for this game, including those two? Would you say the coaching staff? Who else would you blame? Not talking about Josh Dobbs.
I don't want to say the coaching staff, because I feel like the Drew Petzing put this offense in a position to score, and there were just 2 bad balls on Josh Dobbs. And it's hard for me to not blame Josh Dobbs like the majority of this game, because there are 2 touchdown balls that were wide open that Hollywood shredded defenders, like wide open. Couldn't have been any more open. 6 or 7 yards separation in the NFL. That's unheard of. So the fact that you have walk-in touchdowns on back-to-back plays and you just overthrow them, it's hard not to pit the blame on him, because that gets the offense going. The defense still rallies behind you, and it's like you're just asking them to continually get stops. And I'm not saying Marco Wilson or Keitrell Clark did good whatsoever, because Cooper Kupp had a field day, and Kyron Williams in the second half was balling. But put the defense on the field constantly and your offense consistently puts up no points, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to get things going. And they were playing great in the first half. And it's the collapse thing too. I mean, our defense collapsed in the second half too. There's no reason they should go from 6 to 26 points and allow 20 points in the second half. It just shouldn't happen. But the offense needs to get going. It's unacceptable on both sides. But I personally would pit a ton of this blame still on Josh Dobbs.
Okay, so even after the whole idea of getting the rest, we're still very, very heavy on this. This loss was, a good portion of it was Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, it's hard not to see 20 incompletions as well, and then an interception, and then a fumble, and then on top of that, you just can't get anything going. And then those 2 missed touchdown balls, and then that interception in the red zone where the game was really close, and he just threw it way behind him, even threw it with hesitancy. You can't throw things with hesitancy in the NFL. A step too late, obviously, will kill you. And we saw it. I mean, it went behind him too. Like, if you're going to hit him, you got to hit him in stride. You got to hit him right in the numbers. You got to hit him. You got to anticipate. If you're not anticipating, it's over.
Oh,
So
100% agree. Yeah, no, definitely. I do blame that for sure, right? Obviously, Keitrell has gotten a good amount of bad reps so far within these past few games because of just how he's not really kind of come out here. And it sucks because he's a rookie cornerback and he started off so hot. So a lot of us are pretty much kind of having him in a high standard, but he's a rookie at the end of the day, right? Looking at the snap counts here for the Arizona Cardinals, we had Marco Wilson on the field for 100% of the time. So Marco Wilson, and here's the thing, like with Marco Wilson, I know people want to ship him off or send him to China, but the thing is that he might be our best corner we have. Like, that's the realism of where we are at right now as an Arizona Cardinal organization. We still don't know what Garrett Williams is, and we know, and we now confirm that he hasn't played a single snap so far for the Arizona Cardinals. Now, whether he's not completely ready or he wasn't activated, right now, Garrett Williams is not a factor because he's not available to play for the Cardinals. But Keitrell Clark had 56% of the snaps. Andre Chatre, do you know how to say his last name?
No, I don't.
Okay. So Andre,
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, I'm going to call him Chatre. So definitely go ahead and let me know here. I'm most likely butchered his name, but he was on the field actually 100% of the time. And then Antonio Hamilton, 79% of the time. And then Starling Thomas, the fifth, 44% of the time. So we're kind of working with what we have right now. And although, yes, I know that Marco Wilson's getting a lot of the rep, and I'm not saying don't blame Marco, right? I'm not being one of that guy that says, oh, leave Brittany alone. No, he needs to get the blame because there was a lot of talk in the offseason saying, oh, I love the doubters, right? Next this year, I'm locked in. Here's a chance. And so far, it's not looking good here for Marco Wilson. So I know there's some blame to be put around, but yeah, I would also say Dobbs might be the primary to blame because the offense just never got going. Like the excuses need to get thrown out the window here, right? Like we talked about this yesterday with the total points for the first half compared to the second half. This is all Dobbs at quarterback, right? This is the whole 87 points scored in the first half for the first 6 games total, compared to the second half, which we're completely struggling. That's 30 points that we scored total in the second half, and it's just unacceptable. Let me get to this contribution. We got my guy saying, need K1 back. Time to pull the Band-Aid off, please. What are your thoughts on this, Mythic?
It's really interesting because it's Monday, and I don't know if activations happened today after PUP, but he's still not activated. Is it today? Any day?
Any day. It could happen. Yeah, because I remember, I think if I can remember correctly, I believe Garrett Williams was activated, I think it was Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it can happen anytime. Now, granted, activating off the PUP doesn't mean that they're being active on the 53, right? So
it just means you're eligible to practice.
100%. Exactly. So it's the realism of where we're at right now, ladies and gentlemen. I want to dive into real quick what JG has said about Keitrell Clark, and I'm not sure if you guys can chime in on this because me and Mythic were trying to, for the life of us, trying to figure out what the heck JG was saying. I think I have an inkling of what he said, but let's dive into it here when the media ended up asking him, how does he feel about Keitrell Clark? It's the response that got us scratching our heads. Let's dive into it.
What was the message to the team after this loss? Come back and compete tomorrow. What do you say to Keitrell for the game? Keep your head up. Come back and compete tomorrow.
What do you like about
Keitrell? Yeah, he'll do that.
So it sounds like
I don't do that.
Yeah, we're not going to do that. Is that what you hear?
I hear I don't do that.
Oh, I don't do that.
It's very similar though. So it's like
true.
It's the same thing, and I don't know. Well, I mean, maybe he just doesn't want to go right after a loss into just straight evaluation. Like, oh yeah, he's a great man cover corner and he's a great guy and he comes in the locker room every day and compete. But I mean, it'd be nice as a player to hear your coach kind of step up for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, he's a great kid. I mean, he goes out and he competes every single day and he's trying to get better. It could just be that simple. He said, we don't do that. It's like, he's like, yikes. I don't know.
So whether it's we don't do that, or I'm not going to do that, which obviously I think we're hearing different. We're hearing the do that part, right? We don't do that. It depends on what it is in here in the beginning. But the Arizona Cardinals, right now, I think that was a valid question, honestly, because of Keitrell Clark obviously being a rookie. The media is asking, like, how do you feel about him? Like, right, well, obviously these struggles for these past few weeks, I feel like it was a valid question, but you might be right with the whole scenario of it maybe too fresh, right? He doesn't want to get his emotions to be the best of them, and he didn't want to say anything, so probably just shut it down real quick. So it might be that simple.
It very well could be, but as a player, you'd like to have your coach even after a game say something.
Yeah.
Say something. I don't know the relationship between them, so I can't like sit here and harp on anything because you really don't know how they connect or if they connect at all. So I mean, if you're internal and there's like no relationship there, obviously this is a very interesting turn. But I mean, if they're close or whatever and they're fine, it could just be nothing. But it's an interesting comment nonetheless.
I agree. 100% agree. Now, we talked about it yesterday, right? I think this is the segment here where we're going to shift over because this might be a hot take among some Cardinal fans out there that love what Josh Dobbs has been doing so far for the Arizona Cardinals. But I think we at least need to address what we talked about yesterday. And I guess I want to ask you, start off here, Mythic, do you still feel like there needs to be a change here at quarterback for the Arizona Cardinals?
That is a very, very, very interesting question. I would say it doesn't hurt. I'd feel like if there's any time to play him, if it's not week 1, it's now. It's now. You're 1-5. You're not going to do anything this season. Like genuinely, you have to rally off and basically go undefeated to even contend for the playoffs. And if not undefeated, you have to go 10-2.
Yeah.
10-2 or 10-1. It's going to be very hard to make the playoffs or even make noise unless you get into a bottom spot, which how many Cardinals fans out there really believe that we're going to contend? Probably slim to none. I don't even know within the organization if they believe that. So why not just see what the young guy has? The young guy who is a rookie, a quarterback, you have no harm, no foul, right? If he sucks for whatever reason, no harm, no foul. Kyler Murray's supposed to be coming back in the next couple weeks. Supposed to. And then why not just see what he has? He could be a long-term, like literally a long-term backup. He could be your future backup going forward. Why not get him reps in the system now? Because if Kyler Murray is able to play, I mean, he's going to be on the field. It's not going to be a quarterback competition.
Right.
So why not just see what the young guy has? Put him out there, kind of just gauge what you have in the system. Let him play 1, 2, 3 games until Kyler's fully ready and just let him adapt. I mean, Josh Dobbs is at quarterback right now, and although he's played solid and he for the majority plays turnover-free football, it's not winning games. You have a record of 1-5 and you need change. And even I can admit I'm going back and forth every single week. It's the Josh Dobbs, Clayton Tune, Josh Dobbs, Clayton Tune. Like it's every single week. But Josh Dobbs had 20 incompletions yesterday, 21 completions. Just think about that. Almost as many completions as incompletions. He had a turnover, or he had a pick where the ball was thrown behind Zach Ertz, and then he had a fumble as well. So it might be time to legitimately start evaluating. And I don't know how realistic this is because the Drew Petzing connection and all that, and they probably feel like he's the best quarterback on the roster, which fair if that's the case. But why not just see if you have a long-term backup in Clayton Tune?
Yeah, I don't think my mind has changed as well since yesterday. And I think obviously we've had a time to cool down. And I want to make sure that I quote this this very important saying here. The definition of insanity is doing the same things over and over again, but expecting different results. If the Arizona Cardinals come out here and attempt to bring Josh Dobbs back in here and wield him, I would call it crazy at that very moment, because what else have you seen at this very moment from Josh Dobbs when he's been obviously struggling for the past 3 weeks? And I know some people don't want to call the 49ers game a struggle because he, put points up, right? He put yardage on the best defense in the NFL. But if you're thinking about it in the whole, I guess, whole season, right? Looking at it from the long view, we're 1-5. We're a 1-5 team. Is Josh Dobbs truly the best option, or gives us the best option to win? I don't know anymore. I know I like what he's done as a backup quarterback, and that's what it is, right? The people that were out there saying that Josh Dobbs over Kyler Murray, that's crazy. It's crazy.
It's
and we know
always
it
been
now.
crazy. It's
Yeah,
always been crazy.
true. Yeah, no, definitely. It's always been crazy. And then you notice when those throws are deep, right? Those aren't connecting with Marquise or doesn't have that connection with Zach Ertz, or heck, why are we not looking at Michael Wilson as a potential number one? And why are we only targeting him when it's either garbage time or the fourth quarter? Like, that's the crazy thing to me, where this Arizona Cardinal organization, which we're seeing flashes, and I'm not taking anything away from them, right? The positivity is that we are seeing this team compete, but at the end of the day, it's not good enough. You got to call in a spade, right? You got to call it like it is, and we're not going to sit here and say, moral victories every week, because at the end of the day, it's going to wear thin. And I this is probably one of the loudest I've seen, short of after week one, because obviously he struggled in week one. Well, Josh Dobbs struggled in week one, but we kind of understood that he was only in here for about like a week or two, getting practice time. So we kind of gave him a mulligan there, but like, it's, I guess, enough's enough at this very moment. Now, I want to dive into here what JG has said about, I guess what happened here in this game. Let's dive right into JG. And there was a comment about Josh Dobbs, so let's dive into it.
He will. That's how you feel the same way with this. No doubt. No doubt. He's a competitor. He's a warrior, and he'll get back in the lab. And it's not just Josh now. It's me first, coaches, all the players. You know what I mean? We all got to pick up our feelings a little bit and go compete tomorrow.
So I apologize that it's low. I just noticed that it's pretty low. But what are your thoughts here in terms of what JG said? Do you feel like there is going to be a quarterback change? Now, although we want it, do you think it's going to happen?
I don't know. Those comments, it's really hard to see the way he just backed Josh Dobbs and kind of just not assume that Josh Dobbs will be the starter going into next week, because he was asked about Cottrell Clark and didn't answer anything. He gets asked about Josh Dobbs. He's a warrior. He's a competitor. Yep. He goes out and he does what he does, and it's very polar opposite answers. Like, very polar opposite answers. So I don't know. It's tough. That's what I said with the Drew Petzing connection, the connection it looks like he has. And they probably feel like he's the best quarterback on the roster, which very well might be true. As of now, why not just throw the young guy in? I don't understand. I'm not sure if that'll happen. I'm going to probably say no after hearing that. I'm going to keep it real. I don't think it will happen.
No, I agree.
You're probably very similar thinking.
Very similar thinking. Yeah. Honestly, I want the change. I want it to be, why not, right? Why not give the opportunity? Because this is kind of one of those things where, like, you never know, right? Like, most fans would see how Clayton Tune played in the preseason and be like, oh, he was garbage, he was trash. But you got to keep in mind too, he was playing with seconds and threes, right? Now, we also have seen Josh Dobbs struggle as well. But what we say is, give him time, give him an opportunity. Every person, every player, every quarterback gets better when they have reps under their belt. It's just what it is, right? You can only practice as much as you can, but when it comes down to is chemistry, the timing with these wide receivers, and as of right now, we're seeing Josh Dobbs struggle, and he's struggling, and it doesn't seem like there is an end in sight, especially with this tough stretch coming our way with the Seahawks, the Ravens, and then the Browns after that. What are we really trying to accomplish here, right? Are we really trying to win games, or are we worried that Clayton Tune might be better than most people think, right? Now, that obviously that's going to the conspiracy theories of it all, but like, it's getting to the point where, why are we backing so much? Why are we backing Josh Dobbs so much? I get it that there was a connection between him and Drew Petzing, but at the end of the day, if it ain't working, you got to fix something, right? Because if you truly want to win and you're putting the same thing out there, it's a definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Bingo. And I don't know. I don't think they think Clayton Tune is better than most people think, because if that's the case, they have no connection with Kyler. I mean, they'd ship him off in 2 seconds. Cool, we got a rookie quarterback under contract. Who wants Kyler Murray? It would be a fire sale in 0.2 seconds with 2 top picks, potentially 2 top picks. The Houston Texans are way better than anybody would have imagined, including myself. But I think they would just play the guy, and I think they really do think Josh Dobbs gives them the best chance to win. But at a record of 1-5, what is the purpose of not finding out what a rookie quarterback has? It doesn't matter. You know what I mean? We're 1-5. Like, if Josh Dobbs rallies these next 2 games, like, the crazy thing is, if we sat at a record of 3-3 right now, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
100%.
Even if we win the Giants game and we have a record of 2-4, we're probably not sitting here having a conversation.
Ding, 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 ding. And so that's what we talked about yesterday too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's what's crazy is it's literally like you win one more game that we're supposed to win, like the Commanders game, the Giants game, or what was the other game that was very winnable? This one was semi-winnable, I would say, but there was another one I feel like that just slipped.
Commanders, let's look at the schedule here real quick.
I'm not sure what it was, but
So
I feel like there
Commanders,
was a
Giants,
game.
we beat the Cowboys, the 49ers, Bengals, and then the Rams. Well,
Bengals.
I don't think
I
we
thought the Bengals had us.
yeah,
I think the Rams was winnable.
I agree. There was no inkling in my mind while watching this Bengals game. Although coming into the Bengals game, I was like, "Oh, that might be a winnable game because they're 1-3 and 1-3."
Oh,
Right?
I said we were gonna 10+ win because of what I saw, and then it's very hard to go into this game. I knew the Rams were gonna crush us.
Yeah. And then the Bengals, during that game, I didn't think the Cardinals were going to come back. The 49ers, they played the 49ers pretty tough, but like literally, I feel like the 49ers were dangling that dollar bill with the that commercial was like, oh,
You
you're not
almost got it.
fast enough, almost got it. That's kind of felt like what the 49ers were doing to us right in the beginning. They're like, oh snap, these guys are actually having a little fight in them, right? Let's shut them down, right? It's like the little brother that thinks you're beating them in the wrestling match, and then they're like, oh no, well, let me choke slam you real quick, power bomb on you, you know what I mean? And end
You
this game.
thought
You thought
you had a chance. Nah,
yeah,
not today.
that's what I feel like what was happening in the 49ers. So although there were splashes and moments of like, oh, okay, I see you, Cardinals. But no, I think when you come down to it, we don't have the roster to play 60 minutes, which is something that you said very beautifully. We have a team that has fight and has the ability to try to be in games, but in the grand scheme of things, we are missing uber talent on this roster. Uber talent.
And when it comes to halftime adjustments and just everybody kind of regrouping in the locker room, I feel like either the momentum dies off or we just get completely figured out and it's over from then. We just put up 0 points in the second half, a goose egg. And I know there's a lot of people who probably actually, I don't know. I don't know how many people are out there now backing for Josh Dobbs the way they were. Because they just saw the performance he had. I'm not sure how many people are really going to bat with a 1-5 record.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of people who would go to bat for this. And I think it's slowly dying down, and rightfully so. But how do you look at his performance and not say that doesn't fall on him? Or a majority of this game doesn't fall on him? This game would have been a 3-point game if those 2 touchdowns happen. It would have been 23-26. Just let that sink in. You're telling me we couldn't have had any opportunity to have a field goal, even the last drive, like for example, where we're still trying to score, couldn't have been a field goal. It's just the little things. It comes down to plays like that. You can't miss touchdown opportunities in the NFL. If you do, chances aren't going to be very high for you to win a game, especially wide open touchdowns. Can't have it. You cannot have it. I think Josh Dobbs is a decent decision maker, like an above average decision maker. I just feel like his arm talent's not there. I feel like there's plays where it's like, oh, that's a good read. Oh, that's a good read. That's a good read. It's like, oh, he doesn't have the arm talent to make the play. That happened like 4 or 5 times yesterday. And it's like, he just doesn't have the arm talent. It's just what it is. He's a semi-good decision maker with below average arm talent.
Yeah, I like that. No, I agree. Although I think we both could agree that, hey, why not? Let's give the opportunity to tune, right? Let's see what this young kid can do. The way that JG has come out and backed him when he didn't do that to control Clark is kind of telling, at least in my eyes. Do I want to get some breaking news coming out, sometime this week and saying Cardinals are making a change? I would love it. I would love it because I still remember the report that was put out from one of those big reporters saying that this is going to be evaluated weekly. Weekly is going to be evaluated, right? But right now we're going with Josh Dobbs. And okay, I respect that, right? Because the connection with Drew Petzing, but like, I don't know. There's nothing right now. Like you got to be a Cardinal fan that truly feels like this organization can do no wrong if you don't have any second thoughts in your head. You know what I mean? Because these are decisions made by humans. You know what I mean? These are guys that obviously commit their lives to the NFL, and that's great, right? Obviously, they have IQs of the yin yang with these football things that they do, football plays, football moves that they make. But here's the thing, like, they can make bad decisions. We've seen it year in and year out, especially here in the Cardinals organization. So I don't know. I think it's time to make the change. I want to see what this young kid can do. And it's not for the idea of, I feel like we're going to get a better chance of winning. If we get a win, cool. If we don't, we evaluate, right? And if Kyler Murray does come back, then we'll cross that bridge when it crosses that bridge. But we talked about this yesterday. I think I might have changed my mind. We asked ourselves, if the Arizona Cardinals are 1-7, do you play Kyler Murray? What do you change your mind? Because I know both of us said no, you don't.
That's tough. Still,
Right.
that is kind of tough. I would say yes, you play him.
Yeah.
Just based on evaluation. I feel like it was a lot of heated discussion yesterday and
Yeah.
just like anger from Cardinals fans and just us
Yeah.
being annoyed at where we're standing.
Yeah.
I feel like you still need to play him, but the fact he can still get injured is still concerning. You still have to understand that. That is a very certain concern. Like if Kyler Murray gets hurt, his trade value drops. If that is the direction you want to take it, I want him long term as our franchise quarterback, but if he does get injured and they're looking to move on, and let's say we do get the number 1 overall pick, right? And they want to draft Caleb Williams. Like, let's just say this is the direction they want to go.
Right.
And they want to trade Kyler Murray, but Kyler Murray tears his meniscus or something, and he's out for the next 2, 3, 4 months. It hurts his trade value. And let's say he plays okay in 2.5 games. Who knows? It's not a good look. His trade value is going to drop. And then what? Do we take Caleb Williams and trade Kyler for a bag of chips? Is that what we want when we know Kyler Murray could lead a team to the playoffs very easily? Don't want that. I really don't want that.
Yeah.
So I feel like Kyler long-term with a built-up offensive line and weapons around him would be phenomenal. We've kind of seen it with an old A team. We had veteran everywhere. Like the youngest player on the offense that was like utilized was Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know.
The way I like to look at it, if you don't mind, this needs to be something where I hope our general manager knows the plan. If we don't have a plan by now, I'm concerned as a Cardinal fan, truly. If your plan is Kyler Murray and this is the guy we're rocking with, you play him. If you have fear that you might change your mind or you might want to get a quarterback in the first round, you don't play him, right? I think that's what it comes down to here as Arizona Cardinal fans. And I think that's what they're starting to look at here. Every move is being, looked through a microscope right now, because what the decision is for the Arizona Cardinals is going to be very crucial moving forward, because if the plan is Kyler Murray, you play him regardless if we're 1-9, because evaluation, and yes, there's a risk of injury, but also the injury out there, which I know is more, it's a higher probability with Kyler Murray getting injured because of what he got, right? But that kind of tells you that this quarterback and Kyler Murray, although we both back him because he's our quarterback, he's been hurt every single year since we got him. Now, he didn't miss a game every single year, but we got to start looking into the other side of it all. So I hope Monty Ossenfort truly has a plan right now, and you got to stick with it. Yeah. You have to stick with it, because if your plan is trading Kyler Murray, don't play him.
Correct.
Don't play him. But I feel like right now the Cardinals don't know. That's the problem. They don't know.
Yeah, I really do kind of agree. I really don't think there's a direction because they don't know what Kyler looks like. And that's the tough part. You really don't know what he looks like coming off an ACL injury. You have past film, and last year's film didn't look too great. I mean, you know the potential of what he can do, but what can he do for you right now? What can he do in your system? That's why I feel like he will play in the back end. Maybe if it's 5 games total, I think he'll still play. And it's concerning because if he does get injured again, it's just kind of ruins everything. And I don't know where we're even going to stand in the rankings right now. I believe we're 4th, if I'm not mistaken, in picks. I know it's Chicago, and then
let me find out.
Patriots? I don't know. I believe we're 4, but it's just, you're not standing good. You're
4 and 12.
Yep. 12. Wow. Houston at pick 12 is crazy. It's insane. 3 wins already. Who would have thought? I mean, we could have 3 wins too, but
yeah.
Lando, what ifs?
The funny thing is that we thought we were going to be Chicago. We thought.
Yeah. And we play Chicago later this year, I believe. So that could be a very crucial game. Very, very crucial. And I don't know. If Chicago does get that number 1, I mean, I feel like that's Caleb Williams.
That's what I was going to ask you. Do you truly think that they're going to pull a Kyler? Well, I guess it won't be Kyler because they got Justin Fields not last year.
I think
But
it's
do you
the
think that they'll
Mahomes
do that?
draft. So it's been a while. Justin Fields just hasn't done anything. Like,
Is this his second year, isn't it? Or is it third?
I think it's his third or fourth.
Oh, snap.
Let me look real quick
Yeah.
because I believe he was drafted with Mahomes, no?
I don't think so.
Justin Fields has been in the league 3 years.
2021, he was picked up 11th overall. So 2021, 2022, and 2020. This is his third.
Okay.
2021, 2022, 2023.
I don't know why I thought it was Mahomes.
Yeah, if it was Mahomes, I think it would have been Kibbles.
I don't know who
Yeah,
I'm
this is his
thinking
third
of.
year.
Yeah, I'm thinking of some quarterback in that Justin Fields draft class. Yeah, I think Caleb Williams will be the pick for them. They haven't had a quarterback that they're ultra confident in, and if they are the team that finishes with one of the worst records and they see Justin Fields after they just got him a weapon, I don't see it. I feel like it's Caleb Williams for sure at 1 and potentially Marvin Harrison at 2. Like, genuinely build the offense. Or maybe they take an offensive lineman and build that up too, because they do need help on the line too. They have a lot of directions they can go, but I feel like Caleb Williams will get snagged up. And if we're sitting here at 4, where do we go? Where do we go? Especially if a team takes Marvin Harrison Jr., who a lot of Cardinals fans want, including myself, because it just sounds so nice on paper.
Yeah.
Where do we go?
We go the direction any which way. Honestly, we have so many holes. We can do best corner. We can try to re-solidify the offensive line and keep building. To me, it's not that I hope that we don't trade away DJ Humphries. I get that he's going to give us, stability. He's going to give us, good draft capital.
Mhm.
I would say let's ride out with him and hopefully get 3 solid pieces on the offensive line. Because let's be honest, man, that whole interior is put on like a Band-Aid, man. It's put on like it's. Let's hope this works, right? Now, give credit to where credit's due, right? For Holt has done pretty decent, right? Will Hernandez has done pretty decent, and then Wilkinson is doing pretty decent as well. But like, we need somebody that's going to be there, like solidify. Like, we need a offensive line like the Eagles or like the Cowboys once had. Like, that's what I'm really truly looking for. And if Kyler isn't the guy for the future, we got somebody that's going to be able to give him time to read the field and do his thing. So, fourth. Right now, I get when you're looking at it in the scope of Marvin Harrison as well as, I guess just Marvin Harrison. It sucks as we might not get him, but I mean, there's still some other people that we can get. We got Paris Johnson Jr. at 6, and this man is golden child right now for the Cardinal fans.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't know. You can't go wrong unless you take Drake May, and then you're wrong. And I don't even know. Like, there's some people, like, genuinely, like, people who want Drake May, and I'm like so confused. I don't understand that. Like, I can't wrap my head around Drake May. I just cannot do it. I can't do it. It's just, if it happens, you will see me lose my mind. Genuinely, you will see me lose my mind.
I want to see that.
Yeah, it'll be bad.
Well, I mean, is it bad because you don't believe in Drake May, or is it because you truly feel like Kyler Murray's leaps and bounds better than Drake May?
I don't know. I feel like Drake May is very, I wouldn't say underwhelming as a college prospect. I feel like he's solid. I don't feel like he's going to come in the NFL and transcend anything ever. And I could be very wrong on this. Very, very wrong. I don't feel like he's going to come and transcend anything. And the fact if you're just going to move off Kyler for Drake May, I don't feel like it's an upgrade. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it's a major downgrade. You're going to come in here and you're going to have like a Josh Rosen type season again in year 2. And then you're going to have just, I don't know. Because how many people told you that Josh Rosen was going to be him? And I really tried to get my head wrapped around it and tried to like buy into it as much as possible. I hated the pick, but I was like, I was trying to be super optimistic and just like, oh yeah, it's fine. Josh Rosen, we're good. We're good. This is fine. We have a quarterback. Yes. And then we have Sam Bradford too. And I'm like, oh my gosh. What is life? What are we doing? Like, do we really want to go through like the Cardinals signed Teddy Bridgewater and have Drake May, and then Teddy Bridgewater starts for us, and then Drake May comes in after 3 games and then stinks it up.
Yeah, that would be right now. Drake May, I think because he seemed to be like the second best quarterback right now in the world of the college level. 6'4", 230 pounds, 1,902 yards passing, 12 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, QBR rating of 83.7. And I know sometimes the numbers don't really tell all, but Caleb Williams' stock has took a hit. But this last weekend, but it's still, I still think he's going to be the number one quarterback taken off, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. It's hard not to look at him as a prospect and say that. I still am not like big time fan of Caleb Williams. I feel like he's good, but it's just not as high as everyone else is.
All right. So let's continue to talk about this Arizona Cardinals team, right? So I think we both agree that Tune should start, or we want to see him start. Do we believe he's going to? Probably not, because of the idea of JG coming out here and backing him, calling him a warrior, and he's going to bounce back. So we'll see. We both agreed on the idea that Josh Dobbs' primary is to blame for this last game.
Oh, yeah.
Although we know that there has been some struggles across the board. Like, it's not 100% his fault, but we can probably safely say 70 to 75% Josh Dobbs' fault.
Very confidently say it's a high percentage on Josh.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. Zach Ertz, we talked about this a little earlier. It looks like he is actually starting to get less and less snaps. So if, for what it's worth, anybody out there, if you guys are excited about that, cool. But Zach Ertz looks like he is taking less snaps than Trey McBride. At least there was a change from last week to this week, because this week McBride had 58%, and then last week he had 33%. So let's keep seeing it.
Yeah, let's just see the progression. Let's see it get bigger.
Unless the Cardinals are going to do that thing where they piss us off and then they don't see Trey McBride the next week because they were like, oh, he's too good. He's gonna get us to win.
Oh my gosh, dude. If I see his freaking snaps decline, it is over. If it goes to like anything under 35, I'm going to lose it. I am going to lose it.
Yeah.
You just can't do it. It's every single week. It was Rondale Moore, Michael Wilson. This week, who was it? Do we have anybody?
Right. It's a good question.
I don't know if we had anybody even ball out in that.
Not
Cincinnati
really.
game like that.
No, I mean, other than Trey McBride, like, because he had the best game this year so far, right? So I think he's really the only one, but like there was nothing really exciting about this offensive performance today. Like, it was not good.
No, I feel like Hollywood was the best player, and his stats were not great, but it's just knowing that you kind of got robbed at 2 touchdowns and a ton of yards. It's like you kind of just had those on. It's like, wow, it's a great game. He has those. It's like, oh, he's the best player on the team. So I'm still saying he was the best player. 4 receptions still.
4 receptions, 34 yards. Michael Wilson, 3 receptions, 62 yards. But do you remember that catch from Michael Wilson? That ball he went up and got? That was nice.
Super contested catch on the right sideline. Super contested catch. And I really thought that was going to be it. It was a super garbage play because it was evaded out of the pocket and just thrown into coverage. Michael Wilson came down with like a crazy 3rd down conversion. But man, I guess not. 2 receptions for the rest of the game. Tough.
Josh Dobbs.
Yeah, dude. It really does come to that. It really does come to that.
It's the unfortunate circumstance that we're living in right now. Let's go to the comments. Somebody in the chat says, is Purdy, so Brock Purdy transcended? I'm waiting for that type of QB. Will take forever. What do you think on Brock Purdy from the 49ers?
I mean, he lost 1 game,
Yeah.
I feel like people are crapping on him for losing 1 game because this is the most human Brock Purdy's looked in 16, 17 games. So, I mean, I get it, but you can't just – I feel like it's just like, oh, he's a 7th-round pick, and a lot of people don't believe in it. And, oh, he's a system quarterback. He's just a product of the system. No quarterback has transcended the offense or been able to run it this good since Matt Ryan in Atlanta. No one's been able to run this system as good as anybody since Matt Ryan. So you can't look at Brock Purdy and just say he's trash off of 1 game. Did he look bad? Yes, he did look bad. They still should have walked away with the win. They really should have. They were in field goal range. They just
missed. Yeah.
So, I mean, he's not trash. He wins this game, then he's undefeated as a starter in my eyes because the 1 loss he has is a playoff loss where he didn't even play the full game. So
he got hurt too, right?
Yeah. So you can't knock him. You really cannot knock him for this game. Like, as much as you want. You can. Don't get me wrong. But, like, you can't just sit here and, like, knock him as, like, a person, as a quarterback. Like, oh, he's trash now off of 1 game. That's just unfair. Because you're bound to lose. You can't freaking go 300-0.
Yeah.
Like, even Tom Brady has losses, man. I mean, he's lost Super Bowls.
Do you think that that's one of the main reasons why people want to see a rookie quarterback Clayton Tune, because of the idea
Yes.
of
Yes. 100%. 100,000%. As they see what somebody in the division is doing, and they're like, "Oh, well, I guess since he's doing it, we might have something." I don't think we have something, granted, but I don't know. You never know. I don't think we have a Brock Purdy sitting behind Josh Dobbs, but I think we have somebody who could be decent as a backup. So why not just see? You know?
and that's the thing, like that football is just so tricky because it's one of those two throws that like you said, those Marquise Hollywood Brown throws, if those are in, we're not having this conversation this morning, right? We're not talking about like, oh, let's make a change, because those are the throws that you need to make. It all comes down to 2, 3, 4, 5 plays in a game. The whole game is played 60 minutes, but that's what these games come down to. Are you able to make those explosive plays? And so far, we've seen Josh Dobbs, being the quarterback of this Arizona Cardinal organization for the 6 games, and 87 points in the first half compared to 30 points in the second half. And honestly, something needs to be done, right? Something needs to be done. We can call adjustments to coaching, right? Whoever you're on board with, you want to blame coaching staff, cool, whatever. You want to blame Josh Dobbs, okay, cool, whatever. Something needs to be done. I don't care. Somebody needs to fix it. And it's just not being fixed throughout these games. But the Arizona Cardinals right now are 2-8 against the
Yeah.
Rams since 2019.
Yeah. I mean, going to the comments real quick, a lot of people are saying that Purdy is mid. Do you think Purdy's mid? Do you think he's a product of the system like a lot of people are thinking?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, to me, the way I like to look at it, and I get some people have said out there that, the winning column is not a quarterback stat. And okay, whatever. But I mean, what does the quarterback do, right? You get crucified if you lose, but you also get your flowers, and you get highly praised if you win. All Purdy does is win.
Yep.
All you do is win. That's all he does. It's all he does. And yes, he had a unfortunate loss, but so did the Eagles, right? I don't think
Yep.
anybody's undefeated now, right?
No team is undefeated in the NFL.
Yeah, big whoop. You learn from it. That's what happens. And I heard that it was actually a bad weathered game. And I'm not trying to put excuses out there, but like there's something to be said about a quarterback that plays in the sunshine, right? Santa Clara, beautiful weather. And when you kind of get the that inclement weather coming your way, you hopefully you learn from it,
But he's
because
not used to playing in that kind of weather anyways. So like
yeah,
you go, that's like genuinely think about that. You're playing in sunshine California, and then you
beautiful
go ahead
weather.
and travel to anywhere and it's rainy and you're not used to playing like that. It's going to throw you off your game. And the only way to get better is continually playing and getting better and learning how to play. You can't get better if you don't play in the rain, So this is a good learning experience for him. And I don't like the 49ers. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I hate even hyping them up like this because I know how good they can be. They're still the best team in football. Like, just if Purdy bounces back, what are people going to say? And Purdy literally has 250 plus yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 turnovers, and they win the game by 30.
Right.
I really, Jimmy Garoppolo is not doing this for him.
Yeah.
He's not. He's really not. And it's so crazy because if you watch Brock Purdy at like Iowa State, like his college highlights, this doesn't even look like the same player.
The funny thing is that I'm not most, but I'm pretty sure there is going to be some 49er fans out there that obviously when you're talking about your team, you're too close to it, right? So you need to kind of get that outside perspective. But I'm pretty sure some people out there were like, if we didn't trade away Trey Lance, this wouldn't have happened. But you can't think of it that way because Brock Purdy has gotten to where you are at right now. But it is what it is. I mean, to us, we're maybe too close to it. I want to see Clayton Tune. I don't care.
Yeah, I just give us something. Give us a little glimmer of hope to look into. We're just kind of doing the same thing over and over. We're being insane, like you said. We're just watching the same product, just
Same
expecting a
thing
different
over and
result.
over again.
And then we have a halftime lead, and it just crumbles like right in front of us. And it's like, wow, well, could have saw that coming.
Right.
I'm just gonna start putting money on it, dude. Cardinals up at halftime, cool. Who are we playing?
Yeah.
10,000 on them.
Exactly, right, 100%. We got here in the chat says, but Purdy in our system will be trash. I think anybody right now would be not looking the greatest because of like where our roster is. Right, our roster is just there's a reason why we were disrespected, and I don't know why I got so bent out of shape about it. Like I guess deep down the hopefulness as a Cardinal fan, right? I think I was just too close to the idea, but man, really looking at the roster is it's not great.
It's not good at all. And I looked at it at the beginning of the year, and that's kind of why I assumed we were going to win like 4 or 5 games. And I mean, they come out here and give me a glimmer of hope. Of course they do. It's just I'm banking on potential and what I've seen, and not a smart thing to do, I guess. It is the Arizona Cardinals at the end of the day. I've grown up watching this team. I should have known better. That's me. That's on me as a fan. I should have known that this is still
Your
the
fault.
Arizona Cardinals. It's my fault. I gotta stop. I can't give myself optimism. I gotta realize who I'm a fan of and just understand we're probably gonna choke a lot of games.
Yeah. Yeah, what is that saying? Something about like fool me once, shame on me, or no,
Fool me
shame on you.
twice,
Fool me
shame on
twice,
me.
shame on me. It's just that we keep getting fooled, man, every single week, and we're just getting shamed on, and we just
What
love
is
we're
this?
here for it.
Fool me like 912 times. Are we up to there yet?
Yeah,
We're pretty close.
there. We're probably pushing 1,000 at this point.
Yeah, we're really close.
Yeah, it's bad right now, man. It's absolutely bad. Okay, man. Well, any other things to talk about? I mean, obviously, the performance of what we've seen here for the Arizona Cardinals, not great, right? We talked about it yesterday, and we didn't really talk about it this game because it kind of hurts to say, but it's the elephant in the room where the Arizona Cardinals continue to allow one or two players to completely burn the heck out of them. And then this week was Kyron Williams. 20 carries, 158 yards to 1 touchdown. And then Cooper Kupp, 7 receptions, 148 yards to 1 touchdown. And then Matthew Stafford had a pretty meh day, but it was enough for him to will this team to become 3-3. And the Cardinals are now bottom feeders in the NFC West.
Yeah, and it sucks. I mean, the NFC West, if we win this game, is a lot more competitive, no matter how you look at it. And I don't even want to live in a land of what ifs anymore, but Jeez, dude. We are in such a bad spot.
Well, think about it. I mean, yeah, because I mean, literally, you're right. It's one win, man. It's one freaking win.
It is.
If we win this Rams game, we're 2-4, and so are the Rams. You know what I mean? And didn't the Seahawks just lose too? Like, didn't they not win?
They're 3-2 now. They just lost to the Bengals.
It's one win away. So I kind of get where JG might be coming from, where he's looking at this roster like, well, he's going to give us the chance to win. But like, I don't know. I'm starting to kind of get to the point where fans are starting to second guess these decisions. And that's not a world you want to live in, right? Now, obviously, there is a good portion of the fan base right now that they're checked out. They don't care because they expected a loss and they want to get a high round pick. Okay, cool. No worries, right? We chose this life. We chose to cover this Arizona Cardinal organization. So everything's going to be, held under a microscope. And right now, the decisions that are being made by these uppers, coaches, GMs, they're going to be looked at under a microscope. And if he brings Dobbs back in here again, how much more time can we say this is okay, JG? Like let's mix it up. Let's change it up. You know what I mean? It's what it is.
Just got to keep building. You got to keep going, keep rebuilding as much as it hurts, because we can just be in such a different position. Just like, I'm just living in a land of just like me being happy and us being 3-3. And I'm just so excited because we have 3 wins and an even record. And we beat the Giants earlier. We beat the Dallas Cowboys, and we potentially beat the Commanders or the Rams. Nah. We're going to have a historic choke of 21 points, and we're going to have all this. We're going to lose a game against Washington because Josh Dobbs has 15 fumbles. We put up like 9 points, and it's just like, dang, dude. Like, really? We're going to lose these games. Then we lose Budda Baker throughout the season. Jalen Thompson's injured. It's like, wow, just pile it on for me, please. Just let's get my stress levels up there.
Yeah.
I don't want to see 50.
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, this is probably why people die at such a young age, right? Because they're football fans.
Sports fans.
Oh man, it's rough out here, man. It really is. I'm hoping brighter things ahead for the Cardinals, right? I mean, all we can really do is hope that the decisions are going to be the right decisions moving forward. Is all we can do. And I see the comments here in the chat, right? Rome wasn't built in a day, but I agree with that. But it's just looking at it's hard to not look at the Arizona Cardinals organization existence in being here since '88 and always hearing the same thing, right? Oh, next year, next year. It's always like that for the Cardinals, and I'm tired of it. Honestly, I am. And we got what we want, though. We got rid of Thanos. We got rid of Steve Keim. He's no longer here anymore. We're just hoping that Mr. Monty Austin is going to be the guy that's going to get us that Lombardi. And right now, it's just hope and pray. That's all we can really do.
It really can. And I don't know. I'm really hoping this is like a Lions rebuild. That's where I was really hoping. Is where we get a couple wins, and the next year we build off that, and the next year we build off again. And look at them right now; they're 5-1. I was really hoping for that. Obviously, their first season wasn't fantastic, so maybe next year is that year where we take a leap for real and we get everybody back and we kind of rally behind and we finish like 8-8 or something. And it's like, wow, we performed above expectations. And this is the year we need this bad pick. I don't know, but if we have another bad year next year, it's just a lot of question marks. Like, dang, like I get it. We still have to continue to build and rebuild. And it's like, we can't just be good in 2 years like that. I understand we're getting a roster completely. I'm not trying to be delusional, but I don't know. We could have easily rallied a couple wins this season. Easily.
Yeah. I'm going to try to look here. When was, so Dan Campbell was hired on the 2021.
Yeah.
So let's take a look here. So 2021. It is his third season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I believe they were bad first year. Second year, they bounced back. Because I remember they beat the Packers, finished like 8-8 or something. Another 5-1.
Yeah. So they started off with 3-13-1, and then they were 9-8, and then they're here now. So this is the third year. But that second year is a huge leap.
Yeah. So if we can take something like that, then I'll be pretty happy. And they had 3 wins. I mean, do we see the same kind of fight and buy-in as people did for Dan Campbell? I don't know, because Dan Campbell nationally and all the media outlets were covering it because he's a likable guy. Yeah. I like Dan Campbell. Yeah. I really do. I bought in as soon as he got hired. Super big Dan Campbell guy. When the Cardinals played the Lions and we lost to him like 2 years ago, I was like, okay, yeah, they're really building something. They got something going. Jared Goff looks pretty solid. And we played Jared Goff for years and years and years. They never looked crazy good. He looks pretty decent in Detroit right now.
Yeah.
And they're all playing great football. They're buying it on their coach. So is this something that we can have? I mean, we don't have a quarterback technically where we have no direction at quarterback. It's so weird. Like they weren't even trying to move off Jared Goff. They believed in Jared Goff. I don't know if we have the same belief in Kyler Murray as they did in Jared Goff.
I think that's the problem. We don't really know. Like, we don't know. We've been lied to multiple times as fans. Like we've heard, and I get it, different regimes, right? Different people. So we can't blame these guys for what we've heard before with Steve Keim. But like we've heard things like, oh, he's our quarterback, right? We've heard that and we've been lied to every single time. We just got to deal with the repercussions. We got to deal with it. And I'm hoping that truly JG is going to give the opportunity to Kyler Murray and let him flourish under this Drew Petzing, because there's a lot of answers to a lot of questions that need to be answered. And that's one of the biggest ones, right? Do we have a quarterback, right? We know you came here because of a franchise quarterback, right? Quote unquote. But are you really going to give him the opportunity? Or are we going to be 1-7 and then take the height and then take the easy way out and be like, deuces, we're going Drake May to see Mythic loses SHIT.
Dude. That draft is going to stress me out. I can already tell you right now. Because if Drake May's there at 3 and we fall to 3, dear Lord. Because Chicago might even trade out of 2, They might go trade out of 2, try to capitalize like they did last year with the number 1. Yikes. So many question marks.
Questions.
So many question marks.
4 days. All right, man. We're going to close up shop here. I appreciate everybody for joining us here in the chat. Big shout out to everybody that's been staying here the whole time. If you guys haven't already smacked the like button, definitely do that favor for me right now. Smack it up, as well as you are listening to this on Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to review, leave 5-star. Now we actually are available on Apple Podcasts for the people that want to take us on the road while they're working, while they're at school, and just listening into your Arizona Cardinals. And this is going to be the schedule moving forward, ladies and gentlemen. This Wednesday is going to be no show just because of a Diamondback playoff run. So we're going to be excited about that. So ladies and gentlemen, appreciate you guys for tuning in. As always, it's been an absolute pleasure. Have a great rest of your day and go Cards.